Right. Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing great today. Oh, my Tuesday morning has been not too bad, I guess just hot. Yeah, this week is not going to be super great weather here, but again, it is summer, so what should I expect? But yeah, let's go ahead and just jump into the game. So I'm going to do more on the lobby UI today. Oh yeah, we were in the middle of doing this dialogue. Okay, I'd actually forgotten about that, so I guess we'll start on this. Oh yeah, so I didn't like, before we used to use these events to show and close the dialogue as well as get a notice when a button is pressed, but I didn't really like it because when I tried to implement that system here, or here actually, the class had to keep track of too much data itself, and so it was going to just be, I could tell that it was just going to be buggy. So I think what I want to do is have this helper, and you'll be able to just like insert stuff in here, and then the helper class will take care of calling the right callback, things like that. So let's see. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have, yeah, every user has their own helper. Yeah, well, let's just get started. So we'll need, okay, so this is the mono behavior that just holds the Unity objects. We're gonna need one other class here, which will just be a data class for the dialogue. Actually, and I'm also gonna go ahead and just support as many buttons as I want. I don't really think that'll have a need for more than 2, but I could see having just 1 button. So I might as well just try and make it as extensible as possible. I know yesterday I was saying I didn't want to get bogged down with the details, but I think that will be a little better. So I'll rename this to, I don't know, choice dialogue. If I rename this, it's going to mess up the mono behavior, but I don't think I have a choice. Let's change this to like choice. Oh, well, it actually has to match the file name, so we'll leave it like that. And okay, so this will be a choice dialogue helper. And then we'll have, I don't know, public class choice dialogue data. Okay, and this can have the, I guess this, I'll call this a Unity link. And then I'll have a list of helpers, or I don't know if it really needs to have a list. It just needs to have like the current controlling helper. So public voice dialogue helper. Yeah, so I think that'll be good. Oh, hey, Squirt. Glad you could make it. Oh, cool. You've got your own, what are those called? Emoji. Cool. Yeah. All right, so, I guess this will need to have a reference to this dialogue data, which should probably be passed to it. Yeah. Okay, well no, this will be fine. I might not even need this manager class actually. Well, no, I guess we'll just have one class that will register the listeners, so. Yeah, cool. Congratulations. That's really cool. Doing a classic NES giveaway. Oh, like an NES, like one of those mini consoles. Boys. So yeah, we'll pass this dialogue data. I don't think anything else. I'll need to have anything else passed to me. Oops. So basically, okay, let's just get rid of this. I was just kind of for planning, but it's just gonna be clutter now. So, public. Oh, winner gets NES on a square. Oh, nice touch. Mini NES, yeah. I never was able to get one of those, but I don't know. My old NES still works, so it wasn't quite as useful for me. I haven't set everything up yet, but it's going to happen. Well, that sounds really cool. I'll have to try to catch it if I can. I think you usually stream when I'm working, so I haven't really been able to catch your streams, but I'll definitely try to make that one. Let me see. So basically, okay, well, we want to have a Boolean, I guess, is dialogue shown, and this would be like just if any. Yeah, if the controller does not equal null. And then public, cool. Why is it? Okay, there it goes. I don't know why it took so long to update. So, I guess have control. This would be if this helper is the current controller. And then we'd have, yeah, I guess show. Emulate everything nowadays. Yeah, that's another reason. It's kind of useless, but if you're in it for nostalgia reason, it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, I can see like wanting to play it. We had to set up like this big, well, I guess it wasn't that big of a deal, but we had to get an HDMI adapter. So it is kind of nice that the mini NES has that built in if you want to play it on your TV. But still, I think that's a great giveaway. Okay, so we'll need to store different data here for the title. Okay, so we'll be able to set this at any time, I think. Oops, I don't want it to be public though. Or I guess we could really make it public. That way we don't have to do accessors, but well, no, because we want to. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to set these while the dialogue is shown because yeah, that would just be kind of weird. So title text, body text. Oh, I keep writing public by accident. I guess this should just be a list for the button text. And then we'll need callback, so keep doing that. Action. I guess this would also be a list because there'd be one callback for each button. Oh, I see what's wrong there. Okay. You're gonna thinking 50 subs. I'll do the giveaway. Yeah, I think you should. Oops. Okay, I was just thinking, do I want anything else here? There should maybe be like a default callback for on cancel. Which it'd be nice if I could assume it was 0, but probably not the best idea. Okay, so Okay, I'm gonna have to do these one at a time. I guess these should be methods since they're part of a list. Okay, and then the thing is here that if is... Oh no, it's only if we have control that we can't set this, so... have control is false. We won't want to be able to set this because if we have control, then that means we'd have to also update the interface at the same time. But I mean, I don't know why you'd want to change these texts while it's visible anyway. So it's probably better just to avoid that. But I mean, this can be changed because it's not having to do with the actual display. So I guess I'll need a... Well, I should create a set. I mean, a get button text, but I don't really know why I need to do that. So just to avoid writing unneeded methods for now. So set button text index string. How this works, I'm going to use a method that I created. It's called safe set for a list, and really all it does is that if the list is too small for this index, then it will automatically extend the size of the list to be able to fit. That way I don't have to worry about checking if it's out of bounds. So I can just do that. Oops, I meant to copy that code, not paste over it. Now I want to set the callback. And this should be button index. It's weird with this pop filter in my face. I didn't never notice how often I look at the keyboard to see if my fingers are in place. But with a pop filter, I sometimes makes me lose track of where my fingers are on the keyboard. Let's see. Yeah, just an action, and this will be the callback. Oh, and also we shouldn't be able to set this text again if we are currently visible. I probably should even... Okay, the way I've done this right now, I can see that it could cause a bug if I try to set it and it doesn't like throw an error. So I'm just going to throw new exception or not supported error or supported exception. That way that if I ever do this, I'd actually notice what's going on. What's it not liking about that? Oh, this needs to change to callbacks. Okay, so now I just need to take care of this. So first of all, we'd see if there's another controller. Okay, let's go ahead and let's see, notify button press. And then I'll have, I don't know, notify cancel. This should be int button index. So the reason I'm writing those already is because if there's a controller already in here, then we should call its cancel callback. So if data controller does not equal null, then data controller notify cancel, because we're basically gonna override it. So then we take control, and now we just need to basically copy this code. Okay, this is title text and then body text. I guess I'll still keep these default values here. I don't really... Although I can't do this because... Yeah, now we have a variable number of buttons. Okay, let's see. Data... Button index equals 0. I guess, yeah, we should loop through every button in the Unity link. And then if there's no text set to that button, then we'd hide it. Or should I go by the callback? It doesn't really matter. But data, Unity link, buttons, length. Okay, so if let's do this. String text equals button text safe get I don't know. I'm trying to decide, do I want to show it based on if there's a callback registered or if there's text registered? I guess it doesn't really matter because really they should both be set. So if string is null or empty, then we want to hide this button. Dot game object safe or yeah, set active to false, and this basically will hide the button, and it also will trigger the layout manager to move the buttons around so that they're still are in the right position with this one hidden. But here we'd want to set it to true because we actually have text. Actually, I'm using these button objects, so I think I'll just pull it out completely. Button out game object. Button set active. Oh, and then I need to set the text. Oh yeah, which I actually have to grab from a different object because it's not part of the button. So button text. Okay. So let's do the hide, or I guess close. So first we would check to make sure that we actually control the dialog. And if so, we would remove ourselves and then hide the dialog by just setting set active to false. And that's about it. Okay, so here I want to do one other thing. I'm trying to think if there's any reason why after pressing a button you'd want to leave the window open. I don't really think so. But I guess if for some reason I ever want to do that, it wouldn't be that difficult to change. Anyway, so we'll notify button press, and first we'll close the dialog, and then we'll call the callback. So, I think I can do it like this. Callbacks, safe get, did I do that wrong? Okay, yeah, there we go. And so what this does, that's, I forget the technical term. but it's just basically a null check operator so that it only calls this method if this object is not null. So that's an easier way than having to check if it's null and then calling the method. Alright, Escort, thanks for coming by, and good luck with your giveaway. Yeah, I definitely will try to catch it, so yeah, let me know when you know when you're gonna do it. And if I cancel, this works a little different. Well, we could really just do this. So if cancel callback index is greater than or equal to 0, then we would... Oh, well, I don't even need to do that because the safe get would take care of that for me. So yeah, we'll just call notify button press cancel button index or callback index. Okay, so I think that's all I have to do here. Okay, so really all this manager will take care of now is, you know, these exist, or these events don't need to exist anymore. So all this is going to do is just hook up the Unity dialog to this data class here, and then also subscribe to the button click listeners or click events. Okay, so dialog Unity link, and I guess, yeah, we should hide it. Let's not do it like that, actually. var. Well, like I said, I haven't figured it all out. Okay. Yeah, well, that's to be, or not to be unexpected. But yeah, you have a great day too. Alright, so we need to get this object and say hi to the family. So now we have to get this passed to us through the constructor. Alright, so I'm removing a listener. Oh yeah, this is that old problem with having to unregister. Now we can't do it as easy because we have a variable number of buttons. Well, okay, let's just do it like this. What is the... forget what the listener is. So it's Unity action. Okay, so again, I'll just call this listeners. Alright, so for int I equals 0, I less than dialog buttons length. Okay, and then int button index, and again, because we're going to use a lambda expression, we have to kind of store the value of I at this iteration of the for loop. And then so far listener equals on button press button index. Okay, yeah, so I should change this method because it's, let's do that for now. This is a lambda expression, but doesn't like it. Okay, so it can't be implicit if you're doing a lambda expression. Well, that makes sense. So we're going to store this, and then we'll add the listener. And the reason I need to store it in this list is because since I'm creating a new like lambda expression here and not using a method, when I want to unregister this listener, I have to have a link to this method. Yeah, I guess that's the right way to say it. I'll use safe set again. Oh, I could really just use... Well, I don't know. I don't really... Technically, I could use safe set because I am looping through this one by one. But I don't know. It seems better if I like say I'm going to set it at this index implicitly or explicitly. Of course, I say things backwards. So now we just need to register to the event. Okay, and then on dispose, if the Unity link is not null, then we'll loop through the listeners and unregister. Do this a little simpler. And then we'll want to clear the listener list, although I guess it doesn't really matter, but because if we're going to dispose, this class should be disappearing anyway. Okay, so I don't need this. And what will happen here is we need to look at the controller. So if the controller does not equal null, then we'll call the controller notify button press. It will take care of that. So I don't need either of these functions anymore. Okay, and let me see. Oh yeah, so here I just need to create that dialog button manager. Oh, and I need to rename this. This should be UI helpers, choice, dialog, data. Too many angle brackets there. And I think that's it. Okay, so now I need to update this class. The 2-button dialog choice we don't really need anymore. That's actually just going to be a callback. Okay, and I'm gonna see. I want to try and get rid of keeping these state variables. So I think there should be a way that I won't need them. But now I'll need a reference to the our choice dialog helper. And we can create this here. Those new. Oh yeah, now I need to get the choice dialog data from the constructor, or through the constructor, I should say. All right. Okay, so far so good. So here's where I need to change it. I can really actually set this data up here when I first create the dialog. Let me see. The dialog dot title text. And dialog set button text for 0 to be okay. And then cancel. Oh yeah, it should be index 1. And then I guess we should set the cancel button, our callback index to 1. Oh, missing a comma there. So now all I have to do here is... Okay, so first I want to set a callback. So I guess the callback for the cancel can just be the close. Or would we even do anything? Oh yeah, so we'd match the parameters. Okay, so dialog set callback for cancel is this match parameters because this needs to like refresh. But on OK, we're actually going to create a lambda expression here. So dialog set callback 0. And we'll call events QE. So we'll queue this event if the OK button is pressed. Yeah, so that way I don't need to store this variable somewhere, because it will automatically be stored in this callback for me. Yeah, so I don't even need this. Well, we can leave it around. Dialog close. Yeah, I don't need this. Okay, so let's try and see if this system works correctly. It's got to compile everything first. Okay, I've got some warnings here, so I guess I'll look at this first. So timeout, so that's the server stuff. Oh, because the timeout manager is kind of not even used right now because yeah, I'm going to probably make it so that the server doesn't even do timeouts. Except for unverified connections. But yeah. So I'll just get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, this is never fired. That's the issue. Some things actually do listen to it. But it's never assigned. Okay, I see. Well, I guess I'll leave that there. I need to go and restructure the server a bit to take care of that. Choice, dialog, button text, and callbacks never assigned to. Okay, I always forget to create those lists like that. So let's do that now. Text equals new, and oops. There we go. What else is there? Lobby inspector, input state is assigned but not used. Oh, okay. I need to... Yeah, I need to figure out how to hide that warning. Same thing with that. Okay, now a lot of these things are going to complain because the local connection is assigned but not used. Why? Oh, and then there's a bunch of events that I haven't set up yet. That's okay. But I don't... Oh yeah, I had to change the way that we look to see if we're the current, or if this connection is ours, because I changed it from IDs to usernames. Yeah, I'll just need to... That'll be updated later when we get back to the... when we finish up the lobby. Okay, so I think we're good to go. Okay, so now what should happen, if I try to change this to an AI, it will show a dialogue. Okay. It did not, but it also didn't really change that, I don't think. Let me see. So debug. The lobby parameters, this is still set to a player. Okay, what's going on here? So first of all, I should rename this to choice dialogue. Okay, so this is still working. I'm surprised it was able to figure out that that was the same script. Because I remember I renamed it, and usually that makes you have to reset all these values, but... So why did it not show? Probably some bug somewhere. Well, obviously there's some bug. Okay, so the choice dialog is definitely here. So if I set this to an AI, yeah, so it never does send the event. So it obviously tried to call set dialog, but the dialog never showed up. Actually, maybe I never called show. Let me see. Yeah, I just set the callback. Okay, so that was kind of silly of me. Show. Alright, so let's try it again. Oh yeah, so now the warning did pop up. So changing the slot to that type will disconnect the player, so let's click cancel first. And then it switches back to match the lobby parameters. So if I try it again... Okay, now it kicked me, and the server also quit because since I'm the host. And we can see it's up to date. Okay, so that's good, it works. Okay, so I think I'm going to call that good. Let me see. So we did the type drop down. So I guess let's just go one by one and up and hook these various UI elements into the rest of the game. This is sort of annoying because I have to set this off so I can actually see what I'm doing, but I need to be sure to turn it back on before I try to play the game, because otherwise it won't ever, this choice dialog won't ever get set up. I wish there was a way I could say the start script here to be called even if the game object was inactive, or inactive, but I don't think there is. But anyway, so what I want to do... First, let's just apply this. So I need to set up this various things. I guess we should just do one at a time. I guess, okay, the easiest thing to do is just make sure that this slot text actually matches the slot that the index correctly. So let's do that. Try and keep this in kind of a rough order. Public text index label. So this will be a simple one. Index label manager. I think I'll go ahead and copy the type dropdown manager, even though it's way more complicated than this will be. But just to kind of get a head start. Okay, so like, we're not going to care about any of this. We will have this match parameters. Probably. Actually, I don't know if I'll have it on phase change. Because we're not going to have any input. So we won't need that. Okay, so here I will need... Well, no, I won't need the lobby parameters. Yeah, because we'll just number them based on how they're sorted. I don't need the dialogue for sure. Yeah, so really I just need the events. Okay, and then here's where we get this object from Unity. We just use find object of type because there's only going to be one in the scene, so that works fine. And then here I loop through the lobby parameters, but I don't really need to do that. I can actually just look through the every UI bar and the or every item in the player UI registry. We'll get that, and then so this will be really simple. And I'm just going to hard code the string in here because I don't have a localization system set up. So, but whenever I do get one, I'll obviously need to do something a little bit smarter here. All right. I think that's all I have to do. Oh yeah, it's not a UI helpers, it's UX players, index label manager. So I guess even though it's a really small thing, let's I think we'll go ahead and test it. I guess we should start from the title. Oh right, and I already just messed something up here. Okay, so back in the lobby. I don't think it would cause an error, but I did leave the dialogue inactive. Okay, so we'll create that. Yeah. Oh, it didn't update. Oh, I know why. Go back to the lobby. Not what I want. Scroll view, view report, content. Okay, so player slots, I forgot to add. Oh, that's not it. So, yeah, I forgot to add the label here. It just should be renamed. Okay, so let's just apply that. Okay, so yeah, now it's numbered correctly. Okay, so I guess we can do this little icon, and I think I created some images already. I mean, they're just little colored circles, but let me see. Where would I have put them? Oh. I can probably get rid of the standard assets, but I'll just leave it. Let me see. Oh, UI images. So I have ready, disconnected, no, and yes. So I guess this is supposed to be for ready check status, which we haven't supported yet. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So spectator, well, I guess they could still say that they're ready or not. So yeah, basically it'll be disconnected, ready, not ready, and then doesn't need to say that they're ready. Well, how will be how those these icons will work. Okay, but we don't really have the concept of ready or not, so I'm trying to figure out. Well, I guess we can just do something simple. Let's have a ready status. They don't really want to put that into the lobby data because obviously it doesn't like get passed on to the rest of the game. Public. Do we want to do this by lobby slot or by username? Probably username. Now, obviously, since we don't actually have a way to, or we don't support this yet, which, by the way, do I have that in here? Oh, I do. Then, this list will always stay not ready for now, but as long as we kind of have support for it, it'll be okay. And then I guess I should have an event. I think I'm keeping all events to this. So class, ready, status, change. So that should be good enough for me to at least implement this little icon thing. So I guess I'll call this a status icon manager. All about that just to kind of clean up that top bar. And I think again I'll copy a class just to get the ball rolling. Okay, so here we will need the lobby parameters because the type of player will influence what icon we use. And then the player UI registry will need to have oh, wrong thing. This one we'll need to have what's it called? Is it an image? Yeah, so this will be the status icon. Yeah, I guess I'll just change this to refresh icons because it's going to happen both on a parameter changed event and a ready status update. Although, again, we don't ever fire this event. Oops. Do this backwards. Oop. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we'll loop through everything. So how will I actually get the images? I guess I could just insert them here. I might change this later, I don't know. Actually, I don't even know how... Do I use a sprite? Or is it a texture? So item dot status icon. Sprite? Okay, it is a sprite. That makes sense. So I'll just have a bunch of sprites here. Sprite. I guess we'll just have a list. So status, icon, sprites. I might clean this up later. Alright, so let's see. Int sprite index. We'll just start it off at 0. Okay, so I guess first of all, it depends. Okay, so also I need the client info to tell if a client is connected or not. Okay, so that's another thing I need to listen for. Checkables, add new event exists. Client info change. Events. Fresh icons. Okay, so I guess the first thing it is the slot type. So yeah, switch slot or lobby parameter I type. So yeah, if it's an AI or none, then the sprite index. Okay, I guess we'll just leave it as 0. And that will be... Doesn't need to signal if it's ready. And then if it's a player, then it will depend on the username. And even for our guests, the username refers to their parent. So I think that will be fine. And I guess it will work the same for a spectator, so that's kind of nice. But let's actually break this into another function. So this should be sprite index from connection, or let's call it client status. And there'll be LP slots I username. Okay, so if string is null or empty for the username, we'll just return 1, which would be okay, well if there's no username, that means that they're obviously disconnected. So I guess it'll be disconnected, not ready, and then ready. So will be 1, 2, and 3. And then else. So first we need to find the client to see if they're connected, and then if they're connected we need to see if they're in the list of ready users. Cool. Is client connected? For each client in client, oh yeah, clients.active. If username comparer, thought I had this class. Oh, it's in a networking, so dot equal client.username. If they have the same username, then we'll return true. Okay. And then is client ready? Well, I have to do the same thing. Unfortunately, I can't just use the list contains method because we have a special equal function here. So I've got to just loop through every client or every ready client in the list. Let's see. Oh, do I not get the ready status? Okay. Ready status. Let's just call it ready. I'll rename this to clients just to keep the labeling the same. So again, if this is the same as the past username, then we'll return true. Otherwise, we'll return false if we don't find it in the list. Okay. So else if is, okay, this should be is client connected. Then we'll return. Oh, then we have to see if the client is ready. So if is client ready. So here we'll return 3. Otherwise, we return 2. And then if the client's not connected, we return 1 as well. So item. Status icon sprite is registry. Okay, status icon sprites, sprite index. Okay, so I think that will work. First of all, let's go ahead and create this class, and then I'll need to hook up all the various Unity objects. So status icon manager will go in there. Okay, and now I need to switch back to the lobby scene. Oops, I keep on clicking on the choice dialog. So first of all, I need to drop the icon in here, which I guess I'll rename this since I'm calling it the status icon. Just to keep the name the same. So let's apply that. Actually I need to apply the whole thing. Oh, I think it already did, so that's fine. And then where's the registry? So here we'll have 4 icons. We can just drop them in. Oh. Yeah, wrong array there. And then disconnected, not ready, and ready. So obviously it will never get to ready right now because we never actually, there's no manager for the ready status, but we'll at least be able to test the others. So what should happen? Okay, it didn't update. How come? Oh, there's some errors. What did I do wrong? Slot I. That doesn't make Oh, right, I need to generate the constructor with these new data values that I have to get passed to me. Okay, and I need to pass the events to my parent. And then I should just bring these event listeners down here. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, good. So now these are all yellow because it says they're all disconnected. Although that's not true because I am connected, so mine should be red. Let's see. So if I change this to AI... Okay, that's also not true because this player is not connected. And it should change to blue. Okay, so what's going on here? Okay, so first of all, the drop down is not correct. Thought I actually took care of that. Okay, no, I don't check to see if there actually is a player connected. Which I definitely will want to do. Okay, so to see if there's a player connected. You know what, I'm starting to have to use this function a lot. So I think I should just add it into the clients. So public bool is username connected. I guess I should rename it to active. Because now I won't have to keep rewriting this function over and over. Okay, and then here, I don't actually have the client info yet. Private client info, clients. So what I want to do is should only show the dialog if we're changing from a slot with a client to a slot without a client and there's somebody actually connected into that slot. So and clients is username active slot dot username. I think I'll also check that if string is null or empty, username will return false. Okay, so where else do I do something like this? I guess I should check. References, update watcher. I need to loop through there. Okay, and yeah, this is the same type of thing. So clients is username active. Okay, yeah, so I don't want to have like multiple implementations of the same function in case I need to change something. Okay, so let me check this drop down thing before we try to figure out why the icons aren't updating correctly. Oh, I did see some errors here. That's probably the reason. I didn't notice that before. Okay, so it shouldn't complain if I try to set this to an AI because there's no player there. Whereas if I try to set this to an AI, yeah, the warning will pop up. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. It sends this event even though... Why does it do that? So type dropdown manager. Oh, I know why. It's because we're resetting the value here, so then it sends an event. Our Unity sends an event that the value has changed. Well, that doesn't really matter that much. Okay, so yeah, anyway, this is fixed. So, oh, I should check. I need to see what that error is. Status icon. No object. Oh, am I trying to get the registry? Oh yeah, so that's one thing. It doesn't come through the constructor. Is that it? No object type, no reference, is client ready. Okay, and the ready. Oh yeah, so this object is not created yet in here. So context, resolve, and bind, ready status. I think that's it. Turn back on messages before I forget. Still something going on. It's saying that ready is null, I guess. Or ready clients is null, so... Oh yeah, I didn't create that list, of course. Ready status. So on the constructor, we'll just do that. Okay, so one more time. Takes so long to compile just for one change. Okay, so there we go. This is red because I'm connected and not ready. So if I change this to AI, it should be blue, which it is. And if I change it back to a player, guest, spectator, and then if I change this to none, then yeah, it'll kick me. Okay, so that looks like it's updating. So we've got the label, the type icon, type dropdown is done. Okay, so here, well, it's got a lot of moving parts, but I don't think it will be that difficult. Really, it's just all the different types of player have various info fields that we'll need to fill out. So, I think I have the connected player, which is just the username, and I think that is already up to date. But then we have disconnected. You have to be able to reserve it, and then if it's an AI, we need to be able to fill the script out. which we can't do yet because that actually requires loading mods. So, and then the guest, you need to be able to say what your guest of. So we'll need to fill out this drop down, and then be able to enter in a nickname. So yeah, it's not really, yeah, like I said, it just has a lot of moving parts. First of all, we need something to be able to show and hide these different groups. I think I'll do that first. Let's start by just filling out the Unity elements, I think. So public game object type what should I call it? Like type data connected. Then we'll have the text field. Data disconnected. We'll have stuff, and then type data guest. Type data AI. And then for none, these would all just be hidden, and spectator would either be connected or disconnected. So for disconnected, we've got, okay, come on, I haven't even done anything yet. The connected player is just the text field. Disconnected, we have the toggle, and then an input field. The public toggle, reserved toggle, and then public input field, reserved field. Okay, and then for guests, we've got more going on. Okay, I need to remember not to save until I'm done with this because it's going to keep compiling. So we have the drop down, and then, so really we just need to get the drop down and the input field because I don't think either of the labels will change. So drop down, do guest of drop down, and then public input fields guest nickname. And then for AI, we just got the AI drop down, I think. Trying to think if there's anything else. Oops, accidentally saved, so now it's probably going to compile in the middle. Yeah. There's nothing else that I really need for an AI unless at some point AI scripts might be able to like ask for certain options, which could be per player. But yeah, that's down the line, so I won't worry about that yet. Okay, so anyway, need to fill out all these things. So connected, disconnected, toggle. Okay, and guess actually comes next. Alright, so now we've got all that done, so I can start creating the managers for each of those. So we already have a manager for the connected player text. Well, first let's just do the one that will switch between them. So let's see. I guess type data switcher. Be fine. And I'll just copy from this because it's the simplest one so far. Okay, so this will need the lobby parameters because it needs to know what type each player slot is. So lobby params, and I think that's really it. Yeah, so I want to update this whenever the parameters change. Do that, and okay, so here, item dot. Okay, we also need to know the clients because we need to know if we're connected or not. So, how about that? Client info clients. And this should be client change. And I guess I should rename this to refresh. Okay, so this is active. Oh. So type data connected, set active. Okay, let's do it this way. So bool connected equals clients. I think I'll need another function for this. So get is connected int slot, or let's do it this way. Just pass I. So I'm just going to generate that method and come back to it. So anyway, this is true if. So I'm going to need to do like a switch statement. I don't really want to. Okay, so bool has client. Parameter slots I, and this is true if slot type is spectator or slot type is player and slot dot is guest is false. Okay, so anyway, this is true if has client and connected. And then item type data disconnected is set active. If has client and not, or let's not use the not. Connected is false. And type data guest is active if slot.type is player and slot is guest, and then item AI is simply active if slot type is AI. Okay, so actually, I'll set that to false, and then if has client, then we could do connected equals clients is username active. Okay, that's clean enough, I think. Alright, so I can't actually do it yet because I need to initialize this class in the lobby controller. So type data switcher. I just want to test this out before we do anything else. first I've got to re-enable that. Oh, I have an error. Oh, I think it's just from when we played before, from disconnecting, so that's no big deal. Okay. It did not update, so let's see what the error is. Null reference and another null reference. Oh, I think it's the same error, but so it's saying that the slots. Oh, okay. There can be more slots than items actually, so I should do it the other way around. But there never will be more items than slots. Do I should probably check if I do the same thing here. Okay, there we go. If I leave the game running, it seems to take even longer to compile. I always forget to stop it before I go debug. Okay, well, we still got an error. Let's see what that's about. Oops, that's not what I wanted to check. Oh, okay. It was actually because I forgot to generate the constructor again. And then bring this down. Alright, so let's try it again. No errors, and this did actually update to just be the connected username. And this is the disconnected one, changed to reserved. So if I change this to guest, it does update. Okay, so everything seems to be fine. Alright, so let's do a couple managers. Trying to decide, like for the reserved, I have the toggle and then the text field, and I don't know if it'd be worth it to have a separate object for each. I mean, why not? A separate file for each, I should say. So this would be reserved toggle manager. And I'll go ahead and copy this class this time. Although, no, it doesn't need the clients, so. Oh, I guess I'll just delete it. Delete what I don't need. Okay. Oops. Deleted the class I did need, so I don't need the clients anymore. Because we don't care about disconnections. All I really have to do is just refresh the toggles and then listen. Yeah, add listeners. Okay, so toggle, or let's see. Item, reserve toggle. What is this? Selected? No. Need to find the... Oh, so I do need to update this interactable, that's for sure. Okay, is on. That's what I want. So it is on if slot touch username is not null, so... Okay, actually it's a little more complicated than that, isn't it? Because you could toggle it on. But have nothing in the username. So, okay, do I even want the toggle? Because I could just leave it blank and that would mean it's not reserved, although that's a little confusing. I think I would like the toggle in the UI, but I don't need to store that Boolean value in the actual lobby parameters, so I'm trying to figure out where I should actually store that. Probably I just need to have another extra class. Let's see, oops. Not what I wanted to do. Okay, so what would happen if you clicked reserved, but then you have the username blank? I guess you still would want the server not to actually add anybody to that slot yet. So maybe it should just be part of the lobby parameters. Okay, so let's see. Right now, I don't really have a toggle. I just use that. If the username is not null, then we reserve it for them. So I guess another way I could do it is I would just put, like, if it's not reserved, then that input field is empty, but then when you press the button, it would just put in, I don't know, some value in there that you need to change to whatever you want. I don't know, that seems not the best. It's just there's not really a reason to have like a separate reserve toggle, so I'm hesitant to add it in here, but maybe I just need to. I guess another way I could just have it is, yeah, just get rid of the toggle and then you just start typing. But if it's blank, then it would somehow just, it would just tell you not reserved. Okay. Yeah. That's, I'm just trying to think. Sometimes user interaction is confusing to think about. Come on. Yeah, this disconnected. Might just be able to get rid of this toggle. Let me see. So maybe in this input field, placeholder text, I could change the placeholder text to something like for anyone. I don't know if that's confusing. Then this could just. I guess the other thing is that even if you click the toggle but you don't type anything, technically the server would just let anyone in. But you wouldn't expect for that to happen. I don't know if I'm maybe overthinking things a bit. Okay. Well, again, actually, I keep forgetting that the server doesn't care about this at all. It's the client that sends this lobby slot information around. So basically, I can put in whatever I want. Okay, let's just... I think the best way to do it is just to have another boolean. But then again, this is... I wonder... Do I even need to do this? I might be like overthinking it because... Okay, in most games what you would do is you would invite your friend based on their username, so you don't really need to reserve a spot for them. But in this game, let me see how it would work. You would just, well, anybody could join in, so that would be one thing. But they'd still have to know your like address to be able to join in, so I mean it's still kind of a exclusive club. If you wanted to reserve it for a specific player, that would be a little difficult unless you added a password. I mean, I guess there could be a reason why you might want to do this, but well, I already have like the capability to do it. It seems silly just to remove it based on the toggle button, but Guess another thing I could do is make it so that the toggle button isn't actually input and it just turns on and off based on if it's reserved or not. Okay, I think I am spending way too long on this. Let me see. So if I had this reserved toggle, what would I do? Basically, when we try to assign to us, or we find an assigned slot. Okay, so this is open slot, would just return false if it's. It'd be something like slot reserved. That's not true either. Because I know I'm using this open slot just to basically see if it's a slot that needs a client. So if it was actually open, it would be not reserved. Yeah, so this is kind of a misnomer actually. So this is does slot need client? Okay, and then once we've assigned the username, then we would reserve it for them. And then the host, or yeah, the actual player could unreserve it if they disconnect. I don't know, I just don't know if this is even needed, so I'm kind of hesitant to do it. Well, let's just go ahead. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I already have most of the code needed, so yeah, when we assign, we just reserve it. Okay, so what I need to do here is when we find assign slot, and then assign to slot. Okay, so what do I do if like a new one doesn't have a slot? So I thought if there was a new client that didn't have something, don't I give it any open slot? Oh, that's what this is doing. So if lobby slot is less than 0, then we try to assign to an open slot. Okay, so let's change this assign to open slot. So what I would do is does slot need current and is slot open. So that's basically what this is used to be checking for. So switch slot. Oh, I guess I should grab this. The player or spectator. Oh, actually, it's a little bit more difficult for players, so we return slot is guest is false and slot.reserved is false. Oops. And again, yeah, this reserved flag is kind of not needed because it's pretty much the same as if I had no username. But doesn't really, there's no issues with having it, I don't think. Okay, so we'll just need to make sure that if we unreserve a slot, then we need to clear the username as well. Because I think that's kind of important. So find assigned slot. I guess I could do this here. And slot dot reserve and username equal. Yeah, because if it's otherwise the username's been like stuck in there. That's why I don't really like this, because if this username is not null, then it's obvious that the slot is reserved for this client. So I feels like there's like a weird problem you could have where reserved is true, but username is is null. That means that nobody could ever connect here. And then if reserved is false, but the username is not null, then that's like an invalid state. So I really don't. Okay. Okay, so yeah, if it's reserved but the username is null, then that doesn't really make. That would be bad because nobody could ever join. And I could see that being kind of confusing, actually. So when I think of it from that angle, I kind of want to get rid of this. So I just gotta walk through this problem. Let's get rid of that, and then okay, so is slot open? Okay, let's just. Now that's just a copy of that, so I guess I don't need this function. But also, yeah, so I should just revert this whole class how it used to be. Okay. So yeah, just that's okay. Sometimes you gotta take a little time out to really walk through some code. So, okay, so do I need this toggle? I think not. So I think what I'll do, instead of using that toggle, we'll just have an image here. That will just be this check mark, which I think I already have. Come on. Now, is there an... Okay, there's not a not, like a not reserved. I guess we could just hide this image. I guess let's just pull this out. Yes, it's fine. And delete that. So what will happen is when it's not reserved, checkmark will just be empty, which is maybe a little confusing, but again, this is just a temporary temporary UI, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Could just use this, like, these icons as well. So yeah, we could do no or yes. I might just do that. Okay, so this will be reserve icon. Alright, so let's change some of this. Yeah, not a toggle, it will be reserved status icon. And this is an image. And now I need to have a reference to those sprites as well. Although I think I might just be lazy and use... Well, no, I shouldn't do that. I was gonna say I could just reuse the same array that I do for the sprites. I mean, for the status icon, but reserved icon sprites. But I mean, doesn't really save much. So this should not be called the toggle. Okay, so basically I just need to pick a different sprite index based on if the username is null or not. So sprite index equals string is null or empty slot dot username. So, oops, wrong function there. Okay, so slot reserve. Oh, not slot. Item reserve status icon. Sprite equals registry. Sprite index. Okay. I think that's all I have to do here. Let's go ahead. Okay, well this won't update actually, because I don't have something for the text field yet. Let's go ahead and hook up these Unity objects while I remember. I'll have to work quick if I want to finish this today. Okay, now it's done. So put that here. And then should apply that to the prefab. Now up here I just need to add in these two sprites, which will just be the ready status no and yes. I'll just reuse these colors. Oh. Alright, so now I need to have a manager for the input field. So reserve text manager. Also, okay, no, never mind. I thought that I had the client info here, but I don't, so not an issue. Oh, also, I think... What did I register a listener? No, I haven't done that yet. Okay. Yeah, so I should actually copy from here because I have... Well, it doesn't... I just have to deal with listening or creating listeners now. I don't need all that. I just need this. So anything that controls actual values actually have input is a little more involved. Oh yeah, I don't have dialogue. Flow state. Actually, I do need the client info because I shouldn't be able to do this if the client info or if a client is connected. Ideally, this would be hidden. Well, okay. Actually, no. We can assume that this is only shown when a client is visible, and then the actual input manager that deals with our events will need to check to make sure that the client is actually disconnected when we try to change this. We need a local connection to see if we're the host or not, so that's fine. Let's get rid of that. So on phase change, so int is interactable. Yeah, that's still good. And this should change to Is it reserved field? I don't have a dialogue, so. Okay, we got the field, interactable, and then the text in here would be the slots. Oh, do I not have the actual slot yet? Okay, we'll have to see if this is null, if it throws an error or not. I'm not sure what will happen. Okay, so yeah, we have to register for a listener here because more fields or more rows can be created at any time. So we need to register listeners for new fields. Is on value changed, right? Yeah, I think so. And again, we don't have any dialogue, so that's fine. And these classes, I remember I have a note that we can guarantee that the lobby UI will also dispose at the same time as these managers, so I don't need to worry about unregistering listeners. That's a good thing. Okay, so on value changed. I guess, do I need to validate this at all? I don't think so. So I guess I would just call it events, queue, new. I don't know if I have an event for this. Oh, I do. Oh, but this doesn't exist anymore. So this would be disconnected player username input. Oops. I want to do that. Although I'm not really going to save myself many key presses. Okay, so index equals slot index and username is value. So I don't know if I need to validate. So really I should have like a username validator class now that I think about it. I actually already have something like that in the setup lobby. So maybe that class should be somewhere else. I can use it in here too. All it does is just check for our max length. Okay, so let's see. Validator. I guess I could just, well, I can't really put it in the UI helpers. I should put it in networking. And this will probably cause some errors because it's gonna say that things that use it will need to use this namespace now, but that's okay. So anyway, okay, so the reason I need to do that is because if we tried to input this, it would, let's see, I should look and see how I did that before. But anyway, we have this on. Oh yeah, reserved field, validate, input is the username validator. Username validator. This validator, validate input. How does this work? Yeah, so this goes by character, and then I have is valid. Why do I have is valid username separate? Oh, is valid in username, so it's checking if a character is valid in the username. And so yeah, basically we just go by that, which I think is fine. But how? In the setup lobby, trying to see how I did it here. So interactable, input type, that doesn't change, so. Changed. Oh, okay, so I don't really do anything except I make sure that we'd only fire this if the username is different, but not really that important. Okay. Let's go ahead and add these new classes. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll have time to test them. But so reserve status and reserved text. And I guess let's see if there's any errors in here from moving that file, and I'll try and fix them. Yeah, there's going to be quite a few, I thought. All I have to do is just go in here and oh, yeah, using networking. In fact, I think I'll just copy it. Okay, so that should fix that. And of course, if I do anything, it's not actually going to update because... Oh, one other thing. Oh, and I need to actually resolve and bind this username validator and the lobby controller too. Yeah, like I was saying, if I do any of this, it's not going to really update because the input manager doesn't listen to these yet. But I guess we can at least check to see if the events fire. Okay, well this is wrong because I'm connected, so we have an error actually. Oh, I knew this would happen. I have the choice dialog invisible. Okay, there we go. So here I can try and reserve. Oh, there's actually an error already. Value does not fall within the expected range. What's that mean? Value does not fall within the expected range. Huh. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but let's see if at least it fires events. It doesn't, probably because it didn't listen. Yeah, the listener didn't get added, but I'm completely out of time now. God, I don't know what that error is trying to say. I'll have to try and figure that out before the next stream. Did it still get it? Okay, that's really weird. Yeah, there's no events, so it's kind of broken. Because there's nothing in here that has a range, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But anyway, yeah, sorry to leave on that kind of weird note, but I'm out of time. I'll try to figure it out and know by next stream for sure. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the chat. It was nice talking to you. Um, I'll should be live tomorrow at around noon Eastern, so feel free to follow here or on me on my Twitter if you'd like to be notified. And then I also have a YouTube channel where I upload old videos if you'd like to check those out, and a Discord server if you want to chat with me. It'd be great to see you there. But yeah, I'll put links in chat, or you can check out the video description if you're on YouTube right now. But besides that, I guess, yeah, gotta head out. So have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.